Welcome to the Lowcountry Revolutionaries, the podcast that dives deep into the heart of Charleston, South Carolina's vibrant entrepreneurial scene. I'm your host, Bill Bellott, founder of Veritas Exoscience, and each week we're spotlighting the boldest innovators from the Chucktown startup community. These are the visionaries pouring their heart and soul into the businesses that are transferring Charleston into a global hub of creativity and American ingenuity. Get ready for raw, real conversations with the trailblazers shaping our city's future. Let's dive in. I would like to welcome Jenny Trudeau. Jenny is the Executive Director for Parents Partnership, a Lowcountry-based nonprofit serving families, helping them form personal networks for support so they can struggle less. And they have a simple belief: whenever safely possible, children belong with their parents. Welcome, Jenny. How are you doing?
I'm well, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing great. So, Jenny, that's a huge mission. So tell me about it. What are all the things that you guys do?
We do a lot of different things, but the primary goal, our primary objective is to help parents form personal networks of support and to find resources where they may find themselves in the throes of struggle of life
Mm-hmm.
and need a little bit of assistance to get through it. We make it our job to network with organizations across the Low Country and frankly across the country. And we help parents find good quality resources and then help them network with each other so that they can share things like childcare, transportation, housing, different things,
Nice.
help them level up a little bit.
Yeah, that's nice. So, do you guys get in? I'm going to ask just some general things like, do you guys get
Sure.
involved with like homeschooling? So, say parents like, hey, I'm fed up, or I've got a situation where it doesn't make sense for me to be in a public or charter school. How do I do homeschooling? Is that something you get involved with, or is it more about just connecting
Sure.
people with that?
It's all of that. So, because there's so many different ways to parent, we really try to figure out where people are and meet them where they are and where they're trying to go. And so, if you want to come out of public school and you want to get into homeschooling, we have so many resources. I myself am a homeschooling parent. However, our vice president, her kid goes to public school. If
Mm.
you are having issues or you need some resources for that, mentorship programs, after school programs, things like that. Like we have those resources as well. So if you need special needs assistance, we work with organizations that get that for you as well. So it's sort of an all-encompassing thing. What differentiates us between other organizations is many organizations will come in for children and they will supply school supplies,
Right.
clothing, food, medical. We really focus on the parents
Mm.
because, if the children are getting their needs met, the mom and dad are struggling to afford to feed themselves dinner or wondering about the electric bill coming up, then
Right.
the kids are going to feel the pain of that. So we really try to help the parents to struggle less, and it benefits the whole family.
That's awesome. That's great. That is really
Yeah.
a different approach because, like you said, most of the nonprofits and other types of organizations, church organizations, they focus on the kids, which is awesome. Nothing wrong with that.
Yes, right. Yeah.
So, what about as you're trying to help parents? I know that the obvious question that's going to come up out there, and I know you've probably heard this 1,000 times, but I have to ask. So
Sure.
why can't I as a parent just go get on Facebook or whatever social media thing and connect that way? Why do I need your guys' app and everything?
Yeah, so I mean, you can go on Facebook, but traditional social media is a very wide open
Right.
space full of people who don't know what it's like to have children. There are people who are literally just there to provoke arguments. There are
Yes.
predators online.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, there are. There's no shortage of people waiting to kick you while you're down. There are a lot of predators online. There's a lot of scammers. You can take your chances with that if you want to. We're, we're good with that, but we also feel that having a parent exclusive network, we are employing AI tools. We have people who moderate,
Oh, good.
our forum on and everything so that you're not kicked while you're down. You're not told that this is what you get, or you should have thought about that, or where babies come from, and all of those things
Right.
that aren't actually very helpful. So the wild west of Facebook or other social media platforms opens you pretty wide up to that, where ours is a little bit of a softer place to land, and you're in a network with other parents who are looking to, network with you. So
Right.
it's mutually beneficial. People want to be there. And so it's a little bit of a different feel. It's a lot of bit of a different feel, to be honest with you.
That's good. That's
Yeah.
one of the personal reasons why I don't get on Facebook, even though I've had it for a long time, is because of exactly some of the stuff that's going on. Plus, the politics of today is
Yep.
is pretty daunting on a platform. How do you go about, that kind of brings up the question: how do you go about kind of vetting people to get on your platform? So anybody could say, "Oh, I'm a parent, I want on here." What do you guys kind of do to kind of make sure you're keeping the community kind of tight and authentic?
Yeah, so well, we don't allow anonymous registration, first
Mm,
of all. So, you will have to register using two-factor authentication and
nice.
um, excuse me, authentication. Is that the
Yeah.
word?
Yep.
Authentication, I
Yeah.
think is the word. Yeah. Sorry. We also strongly encourage our users to go through the background check process.
Okay.
So, unlike other social media platforms, we're actually offering a background check so that as a parent, you can do one, show that on your profile, and know that whoever you're talking to also has passed a background check. So, there are no 100% assurances that you're going to be totally safe, just like
Sure.
with
Sure.
dating apps and things. You're going to have to be, use your common sense and due diligence about people and your safety. But we do offer those things to provide a little bit of peace of mind. With AI and with our moderators, keeping an eye on everything, if it's pretty suspect that somebody's not actually a parent, we are able to get them off the site too. So yeah,
Nice.
yeah.
Nice.
It's not for everybody. Most of the time people will look at it and decide it's not for them. Like I don't golf, so I don't go on golfing sites,
Right.
right? So, but occasionally, we'll have some of those issues, but trying to keep safety in mind and trying to keep in mind people who want to have a safe place to go and commune with other parents. We're really keeping that in mind to, keep them safe and keep that riffraff off our stuff.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
as people come on, is all the parts about this really through online medium, or do you guys do like in person events too? How do you kind of manage and help people across the community?
Yeah, well, the app that we have is set to be released very soon. And so you're going to want to log on and check that out,
Okay.
register for free, and all of that. But we do a lot of events. So we network locally with about 40 other nonprofits.
Oh, cool.
And so it puts us in a great position because we don't ever have to tell people that we don't help you with that.
Right.
So if you need utility assistance or you need
Okay.
food or there's a domestic violence issue happening, we know resources. We make it our business to know those resources. And
Nice.
so we can help you. So whether that is attending events to help with clothing, whether that is, Chamber of Commerce or city town halls we've done, we also do personal outreach on occasion. So, like last summer, we were helping an elderly resident on James Island with a bed bug infestation
Hmm.
that was horrific.
Right.
So, we step in, as we're able to, and then the ability to network with the other nonprofits just increases our reach and everybody's impact.
That's awesome. I mean, it really that really describes it very well. Is that you guys are like a way to get into this giant network, and
Yeah.
I love that. Because I was going to ask you, do you guys get involved with, because the way you said your belief about when safely possible, it made me think. So, are you guys involved with Child Protective Services and those types of
Mm,
situations? Because it sounded like you're
yeah.
very, in tune with that.
Yeah. Well, yeah, so we just started discussions with the DSS department that works with families who could be facing separation from their children.
Right.
And our goal is to step in with those families and those parents and figure out what do they need so that they don't lose their kids.
Right.
So whether that's addiction support, or that could be parenting classes, that could be better jobs, or whatever is going on. Whenever we're able to do that, our goal is to help those families so that they don't separate. It's traumatic for the children, it's traumatic for the parents, and oftentimes they don't recover. Statistics for children that are pulled from their homes are not good.
Right.
And so, we have a passion around that for sure. And, that's why we work with so many nonprofits so that we can ensure those resources. And we personally vet our resources
Mhm.
too. So we're not going to be like, we'll call United Way, because you're not going to get very far with that. You're going to get a bunch of phone numbers, but
Right.
it's really hard to find, help if you don't know where to look. So we know where to look. So we're there to make sure that, the grassroots organizations who are actually boots on the ground and stepping in, that they're easy to find and that we can get families to the resources that can get them the best help. So we take it very seriously on that end to keep kids in their homes whenever possible,
Right.
and helping those parents thrive. Yeah.
That's amazing. So like you were saying, it's like it looks like you touch everything from jobs to, you know, uh,
Yes.
resources as far as like, hey, I need to get my car fixed because I need to get back and forth to
Yes.
work and I can't afford to get it fixed right now. What can I do? All of those types of things.
Yeah, yeah. We are working on a program now called the Lowcountry Car Repair Coalition. It is not quite open yet. We're working with a couple of area mechanics to line out some of the details, but basically to have them donate some labor
Oh,
hours
nice.
towards the repairs of, minor maintenance or things like that. We're not going to be able to rebuild people's transmissions, but
Right.
yeah, but we can fix your brakes, and make sure that you can get to work safely. And those programs are designed to help people who may not also otherwise get benefits like EBT or housing.
Right.
So if they lose their car, they can lose their job, and then their whole world turns upside down. So, doing things like that, or just other initiatives that can get people resources. Yep, that's what we live for.
Yeah, and I know it's like when I've known folks that have gotten caught in the gap, which is they have gotten in a
Yes.
place where in many respects caught in the gap. And mind the gap, as they say in England, which is they get in a place where they end up having to get on welfare or food stamps or whatever it may be called
Hmm.
these days, and then there's a huge gap because if they go back to
Hmm.
work, the work doesn't
Yep.
equal out to what they already have.
That's right. That's right.
There's this, how do I transition from this to this? And how do I do it and
That's right.
keep everything going, right?
Yeah, that's right. And, especially for a lot of single parents out there, and this can happen through no fault of your own. I
Right.
had a very dear friend who, was married with her husband for almost 10 years. They had a baby, and 9 months later, he was in a coma and died from
Wow.
complications from the flu, of
Right.
all things. So, and he was 29. So it can happen. The worst can happen. You can lose your job. We're all really one car accident away, right? So
Yeah.
at what point, do we then take a look at, what does that gap look like? And that gap is deep and wide. And when you fall in it, it's really hard to get back out of it. And so, looking at some of the way that the culture is, looking at what a lot of parent discussions look like, that's sort of how we came up with the idea for the app, because so many parents are looking to network with each other. If you go on TikTok and you listen to any of the like single mom chats and things like that, they all sort of half joke around about dating each other.
Yeah.
They don't really want to like date. They really just need a partner.
Right.
And, it can look like, I'm going to watch your kids Monday and Wednesday. You're going to watch my kid Tuesday and Thursday. And in that time, we're going to go back to school and get some skills that's going to allow us into a better job, so that when we come off of EBT and we come out of a housing benefit, we have a salary that can afford those bills.
Right.
It could look like childcare. If we work opposite shifts, if you're working in the day and I'm working in the evening, I'm going to watch your kids, you're going to watch my kids, and we don't need to pay $300 a week or more
Right.
in daycare bills, and we can save that money instead. And so helping parents to do that is also really in our wheelhouse. And the app will allow parents to match based on compatibility
Oh,
factors.
cool.
So if you want to be a religious family, you can connect with another one. If you want to be a vegan family, you don't have to
Yeah.
mess around with the barbecue people,
Right.
So, yeah, so really helping you meet people who you're more likely to succeed with and get along with. And so, yeah, it's so beneficial for everybody. And then the rest of us, the organizations out there who are helping people in the throes of struggle will be taxed less when you think about the long-term effects of people being able to partner together and share those resources.
Right. And I've heard this from several places now, and I can sort of see, how this is true, which is, you know, one of the problems that most people have now in their family is there's an epidemic of loneliness. And
Yeah,
people joke about it, but it's true. And
it's way true.
yeah, and this
Yeah,
this kind of
so
helps with that.
it does. So somebody said something to me recently about, another single mom that he knew that probably wouldn't want to be on the app because, she has a really good job and she's not struggling financially. And, it's a misnomer because just because she can afford to pay her bills doesn't mean her hormones hasn't gone crazy or that she's not completely isolated from other
Right.
people in her life. And there's a lot of people who are in that situation that just need somebody to talk to and need somebody to go through parenting with.
Right.
It's hard to do. And we're social creatures. We weren't supposed to do this by ourselves. And a lot of postpartum mental health issues stem from the isolation and the inability to relate and to, be with others. And a lot of studies show that when you find yourself in a community, whether that's a church community, it could be a
Sure.
homeschool community, it could be a outdoor group, an exercise group, you're going to do better. So for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah,
Yep.
I
We
totally.
need a village.
Yeah, exactly. And I totally feel that.
Yep.
And it really kind of circles back to some of the comments you made earlier, which is true. It's like, the reason places like Facebook and similar places don't work is because most of the time you go there and you may start to share and then you get kicked. So
Yep.
somebody's like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna
Yeah.
kick you while you're down," and then
It's
then you don't want to share it all,
disgusting.
right?
It's disgusting. So when I was forming the charity, we had just incorporated and received our 501(c)(3), and I was online and looking for, more research, cultural,
Right,
statistical data. And there was a mom who wrote into Facebook who was asking for help getting diapers.
right,
The previous month was really cold. Her electric bill was really over what she thought and she can't afford it. She said that she wasn't even looking for money. Could somebody please maybe make an order at Walmart and she could go pick it up? She really just needs diapers.
right.
And other people were trying to find out who she was. They wanted to make a report on her to DSS because she couldn't provide for her children.
Yeah, yeah.
And I
That's
thought,
exactly
how
what she
terrible
needs.
can you,
Yeah,
right? I mean, honest to God, right. And I'm sure DSS probably would have shown up with diapers
right.
and not anything else. That's the rub. So, but why kick somebody when they're down? And how do you feel to tell somebody, well, you should have thought about that.
Yeah,
That's what you get. You knew how babies were made when you had her and you asked for this. You can't complain. You signed up for this,
right.
like it, Facebook is full of perfect parents, and many of them don't actually have children. So,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
And it's funny. It's like my family has been in the first responder community for a long time, and even though you see today people sort of demonizing law enforcement and other types of first responders,
Mm,
like those people show up. They find
They
a
do.
single mom like that, they'll show up with diapers and more. And
They do.
and
They
they don't have
do. Yep.
they pay for it most of the time right out of their pocket. It's not coming out of the
They
taxpayer
do.
departments, and they don't have any money. They're not making a lot of money.
Yep.
So it's kind
Yep.
of crazy that
Yep.
where people end up finding help is not where you would think. You would think it would come from other places. So I'm really happy
Yep.
that you're setting up a situation where people can find stuff without having to go through those horrible types of situations like you explained there.
Yeah, and we have a team of people who help us with our resource library, and they're wonderful. And we call organizations and we find out who they are and what they do across the country. And one of our vetting criteria is how they make us feel when we talk to them.
Right.
And if they make you feel bad, they don't go in our library.
That's good.
That's
That's a good
flat out,
idea.
yeah. Because you're already feeling bad and it's already humiliating enough to know that you need help and now you have to reach out and you have to admit to somebody else that you made a mistake and the shame rituals that we go through in
Right.
our culture are ridiculous and they stop people from reaching out for help. So we want to be different and we don't tolerate that.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Well, you
yeah.
have you're also using one of the greatest secrets that's used in, I will say, the business world, which is you're using your intuition. You know,
Yes,
all the best hires you will ever do for whatever company you have out there, it's going to be based on your intuition. It's not going to be what's on a piece of paper or what somebody's
that's
told you or
right.
anything. And so I'm
Yep.
so glad you guys are doing that, because you get so much more information than what's on a piece of paper, and so it's a good
Hmm.
thing to do. That's really cool.
Yeah.
So what else? What other stuff is kind of going on? Do you have any like upcoming things where you're? I know
We
you're in the
do.
throes of kind of launching the nonprofit and everything. What's coming up next that people should know about?
Yeah, yeah. We have a festival coming up, a fundraiser festival. It is May 2nd. It's going to be in Carnes Crossroads at the Green Barn from 1 to 5. We will have food trucks, good
Nice.
ones. We will have live music. We will have lots of different nonprofit vendors, craft vendors, sponsored vendors. The theme is like a vintage carnival style
Oh,
theme.
cool.
So come out with your family. You'll play free games. You'll win free little prizes. We'll have raffles, silent auctions. It will be super fun. Not to put down other larger festivals like what just took place in Somerville, but our aim is to be able to bring families out for a fun day and not have to spend $200 on
Right.
two corn dogs to
Right.
enjoy the day,
Yeah.
right? And so you can come out, walk around, enjoy the day, play some games, really, really free games,
Cool.
and have some fun and help us out. We will have, like I said, we've got some great auction packages put together, and some fun raffle items. And yeah, we just like to have a fun day and come support us. So
That is
yeah,
awesome. That sounds lots of fun. I haven't been to a
yeah.
good carnival type festival in a long time, so
Yeah, yeah.
that
We're
is
gonna have
exciting.
live music there. Route 15 and Wicked Love are
Wow.
playing. They're bands from the Lowcountry who are very good, by the way. So free little concert for you. So yeah, come on out.
Oh, awesome, awesome. That is
Yeah,
great. I'll make sure we get that listed on the podcast episode and everything. So thank you for
yeah,
sharing that with everybody. So
yeah,
I'm gonna kind of close up here with asking the tough question, which is, I'm sure you've gone through lots of ups and downs, sort of setting this up and figuring all this out.
yep.
So, what advice would you have for other entrepreneurs out there who are either thinking of starting a business or starting another non for profit like you have?
Yeah, I think the first step is to find out, how unique your idea is.
Mm,
A lot of people have a lot of really good ideas, but there could be somebody who's already doing it, and you could join with them and learn a little bit, and then maybe branch out on your own later.
mm,
But if nobody's doing what you're doing, it's good to network with people. It's good to know other people who at least have been doing business and especially nonprofit work who can give you some guidance and some mentorship. There's a lot that goes into the nonprofit field that is not the same as a for-profit business. And
Right.
so those things are good to know. You need a good board, you need solid people, you need passionate people
Right.
because you can teach skills, but you can't make somebody passionate. And
True.
so yeah, so I think those are things that really starting out, find out who's doing it, and if nobody, find out who can help you get yours done, and find those passionate people to help you because you can't do it all.
That's awesome. That's great advice, Jenny. I really appreciate that. And I'm sure others out
Yeah.
there love hearing that. I've heard a few others say, you can't do it all by yourself, but that's a great take on it, especially for folks that are thinking about getting in the nonprofit space. It is a whole different
It's
world.
really difficult. It really is difficult because, you have to file paperwork. You have to know what that paperwork means when you read it.
Right.
You have to make a website or a Facebook page. You've got to know how to market. You have to know how to talk to people. You have to do networking. You have to make print things. There's so much that goes into it. You got to know who to network with.
Right.
There's filings that you have to do with the state when you raise your funds,
Oh, yeah.
and there's a lot to know. So it's really good to know what you don't know before you go into it, because that's going to save you a lot of potholes in the future.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And a lot of people don't know, is like, a lot of even especially the financial filings for non-for-profits are open for the public to look at. And that's
Yeah,
a whole
yeah,
different situation
yeah.
a lot of people are comfortable with, right?
Well, yeah, and when you think about that, that's like letting the public into your underwear drawer. So you really want to make sure that one's clean
Yeah.
and nice, and it's not got anything in there you don't want people to see. So that's important that you're not running your nonprofit correctly. And what does that look like? And there are a lot of people who will help you do that. So it's
Yeah.
important to, yeah, get to know people who will help you along the way.
That's awesome. Well, it's a pleasure talking
Yeah,
to you today, Jenny. I want you to
you as
come back
well.
on, especially after you guys get the app launched and you get a bunch of people
Yes.
involved with that. I want to hear how it's going and what the next thing is.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me on today. It was a pleasure.
It's a pleasure. Take care. That's a wrap for this episode of the Lowcountry Revolutionaries. Thanks for joining us as we celebrate the fearless entrepreneurs making wave in Charleston's Chucktown Startups community. I'm Bill Bellot, and it's been an honor to share these inspiring stories with you. If you enjoyed this episode, subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone who needs a spark of low country innovation. Until next time, keep pushing the boundaries of what's possible.